Well, I'm honored to be able to represent African Christian University tonight. I'm Ray Warwick, and I'm serving as the academic dean at ACU. And I'm excited to be able to share with you some of the things that are taking place in the progress that we're making. African Christian University and Seminary is a Christ-centered institute of tertiary education in Zambia, emphasizing the arts, humanities, theology, sciences, agriculture, and technical vocations, all from a biblical worldview. That is to say, ACU will be a liberal arts university and a seminary emphasizing instruction in all the academic disciplines from the perspective of God being the creator, the sustainer, and the goal of all truth. That goes right out of the Bible, and that's what we as Christians hold to. Now, some of you are familiar, probably all of you are familiar with our founders of ACU, Pastor Conrad Mayway, Pastor Ronald Calafugwa, and Dr. Ken Turnbull. I'm also delighted to recognize this evening that our various board members from boards around the world are here. Dan Chidak is here from the United States, who's on the board, the ACU board of USA. And Irving Stengels is here, who is the chair of the ACU board in South Africa. And of course, many of our Zambian board members are here as well this evening. ACU has a fourfold focus. The first is the holistic transformation, which is a whole life education to transform intellect, effort, and will to God's glory. Notice that the education of the student is not just intellectual, but it reaches every dimension of his being, because we as Christians recognize that our spiritual life is every bit as significant and ties into everything else we do in education. There's going to be a mentor emphasis, and this is very important, that our students will not be simply left alone to study, to think, and to do their work, but there will be mentors who will be working with them, dedicated professors and staff to mentor them through a biblical worldview. There's a Christian excellence perspective, striving for Christ, exalting excellence in developing servant leaders. Isn't this something that we're lacking in the world today? Many people get a fine education, and what do they do with it? They use it for their own benefit, to heap upon themselves glory and wealth, and they just they take it and are very selfish with it. But that's not a biblical perspective. God gives us an education as a tool to glorify Him and to minister to one another. And of course, then we'll have the African distinction. And the idea here is to promote a passion for benevolent works for African transformation. We work hard to make sure that the kinds of teaching that we do and the kinds of instruction that the students will receive will be those things that they can use in a practical way in the culture. We want our students to stay here in Africa and to serve the African community. The ACU educational approach, and I'm going rapidly because they only gave me a few minutes, so I have to go quickly. And the academic foundation will start with the gospel, where we're going to emphasize logic and communication skills. African Christian University is going to have a student labor program, and I know some of you have heard this described at some length. This is going to be revolutionary, and it's going to be an outstanding, recognizing the dignity of labor, that we were created in the image of God, and one of the things we were created to do was to work. God gave us His example of working, and we are all to work as well. We want our students to understand that work is good, and that we glorify God through our labor. Also, of course, we want there to be biblical discernment, and so thinking skills, reasoning skills are very important, using the Scriptures to be the final authority for all the matters of faith and practice. There will be an honors program for student team project development that will actually give them hands-on experience as they are solving problems within the community and within the culture. Now, the ACU academic plan is rather lengthy, and we don't really have time to go through the whole thing. But what I want you to notice, if you can, from the chart, and we can certainly get copies of this chart to you if you would like them. We're going to start with the Scholars Program, which I'm going to briefly describe in just a minute here. But in the Scholars Program, the students will get an introduction to university academic level of instruction and can gain a certificate of achievement. There will be an associate's degree after 2 years in the university in biblical worldview, and a bachelor's of science or bachelor's of arts after 4 years in their chosen discipline that they study, and there is that honors degree to look forward to. Well, we are making progress, but I'm sure some of you are wondering if any progress is being made. Well, it is. As a matter of fact, a year ago at this time when we had the conference, I didn't live in Zambia, but I live here now. And so that's progress for me, and it's progress for ACU. But you know what I've kind of experienced since I've been here? You know those speed humps that you have here in Africa? You're familiar with them, aren't you? I became very familiar with them. Being from America, I'm not used to them. Do you know those speed humps? If you hit them fast enough, you can actually fly. You can. You don't want to, but you can. I know this from experience. My wife and I call them speed jumps. Well, we've hit some humps in our progress as well with ACU, but we're progressing. We just go over them and keep on going, and that's what we're doing. And some of the progress that we have made is very exciting. For instance, there have been some appointments that have made. Pastor Conrad Mbegwe has very graciously agreed to serve as Chancellor of ACU. We're just delighted for that. Dr. Ken Turnbull will serve as Vice Chancellor. Mr. Ron Thomas has agreed to be our Director of Development at ACU USA. And so he's going to be doing some work on that side of the ocean and doing some Director of Development work. I went to high school. Ron and I were church members together when we were in high school. And then we went to college together, so he's a good man. And I'm delighted to have Ron on board with us. We've also have a couple of backstop institutions that have agreed to work with us. Covenant College from Lookout Mountain, Georgia, in the United States is going to serve as one of our backstop institutions. And then Toronto Baptist Seminary in Toronto, Ontario, Canada is going to be working with us as well. And so we're delighted to have their assistance and their fellowship. Then we have several people who are raising support. Chris and Karen Hayes. Chris is my nephew, and he's from Taylor, Michigan in the United States. Chris and Karen are raising their support right now. I think they have about 60% of their support already raised, and they want to come and serve in the Scholars Program and as a student mentoring. And then Carlos and Diana Paul from Toronto, Ontario, Canada are raising their support. Carlos will come and join our theology faculty. There are other names as well who are very seriously considering coming here to Zambia, and some from Zambia who are looking at ways that they can serve in various capacities. Can't name their names just now because it's not official enough, but people are moving in this direction, and we're very excited for that. Well, our Scholars Program, we intend to start off in January 2014. We're still looking for this, and we're very excited about this. If I weren't going to be teaching in it, I'd want to be a student in it. And the objective for the Scholars Program is twofold. First, to introduce a solidly biblical, gospel-saturated worldview as the foundation for all academic studies and practical labor. And secondly, to hone and sharpen basic but necessary scholarship skill to ensure excellence at university-level studies and Christian living. Now, the curriculum for the Scholars Program is listed there, and I don't have time to give you a description of all of the different courses that we'll be offering, but I can tell you for one thing that the Bible's grand narrative will be taught by Reverend David Wegener, who's the dean of our seminary, and is here this evening. He will be teaching this, and this is going to be the foundation for all of the studies at ACU. The comprehensive, gospel-saturated overview of the entire Bible, taught from a historical, redemptive perspective, using the creation, fall, redemption, and consummation framework. And so we're excited about that. We're excited about the other courses as well. I will be teaching the language arts course. I told Tabiti the other night, I was a little disturbed when he was speaking and he said he didn't like grammar. My heart just fell, but then he made up for it by saying he learned to appreciate verb tenses, and so that's good. So I was relieved. Pastor Ronald Califungo will also be teaching in this program. He's going to be teaching Christian reasoning and rhetoric, and so we're delighted to have Pastor Califungo teaching with us as well. Let me move along. We're going to have a supra-curriculum, and I'm very excited about this. This is one of the things that's going to make ACU very unique. And if you're wondering about what any of these stand for, just come and talk with me afterwards and share some things. And I know you'll wish you were going to be with us as well. The aim, the students who successfully complete the Scholars Program will receive a Certificate of Achievement and will be prepared to move into ACU's degree-granting programs. Now, we have many needs. We need prayer. We certainly need your prayers. And we also need financial support. And so we're working on raising funds to help us. One of the big humps that we're still needing to get over is the need for land. And so you can pray with us about this. We need this land. We need to get shovels in the ground. We need to get started on the building of our campus. And so please make that a matter of your prayers for us. And we'll move on from that. Materials, infrastructure, we need staff of all different positions. Project manager for campus construction. We have some people who may be interested in this. The only faculty members for the Scholars Program we're still looking for, we thought we had a maths lecturer, but he's not going to be able to do that. So we need someone in maths, and we need a choir director. And I'm excited about having a choir, and I want to take this choir all over the world in the days ahead and promote ACU while they make beautiful music to the glory of God. Some approaching needs that we have, of course, the land development. We want to make a beautiful campus that will demonstrate the dominion mandate that we have before God to exercise dominion over His creation and make it beautiful and useful for His glory and for the good of His people. Also, we'll have construction staff, workers of various kinds that we will need. We're looking for faculty in all the academic and labor disciplines, biblically practiced university administrators, staff, mentors, and disciplers in all academic and practical disciplines, on-site, off-site, short-term, part-time, full-time, you name it, we'll take them. By the way, I'll just give our official invitation to our keynote speakers here this week. You're invited to come and join our staff here at ACU if you're so inclined. Just saying. I don't have the authority to do that, but I'm the academic dean and I've done it, so you're welcome. Well, the hand of the Almighty continues to carve out a passageway for the unique vision that ACU offers. Many Zambians have already given up their time and talents. As God leads, please consider how you also can stand with us in support.